Hello, everyone. So, today, before introducing my topic, I would like to introduce my guest, a very dear friend, Vanessa from Hong Kong. She has an impressive career path in sales strategy with leading tech firms worldwide. And in one of those, I met her. Vanessa refuses to be confined by her titles and continues to amaze me with her childlike learning aptitude. So, today I'm bringing her to our discussion where we will explore a topic which she has lived through, that is, navigating life post divorce, and how wonderfully she has done that, not just for herself, but creating an impact on others as well. So, join us as we talk about this impactful life event, which is ranked as the second most stressful event on the social readjustment rating scale. Welcome, Vanessa.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you, Esther.
Same here, as always. So we'll begin, Vanessa. I want you to share a little bit about your journey from having a successful career to very strong academic credentials and pedigree to navigating this challenging phase that you did after facing your divorce.
Yeah, so unfortunately, right, for these kind of live events, there's no school for it. And it's almost like the more successful you are professionally and academically as you are, you have more to let go because the process of navigating, a live event like divorce is very different from schools or work. I think for someone who is so accomplished, it's very tempted to think that you can somehow, work hard and, just think through it rationally, logically, how do I get out of this maze? But as we all know, it's not possible. It's just not how it works. Sometimes things happen. There's no reason. It's just part of your path. It's not you or him or anyone who wants to hurt you. It's just a lesson to be learned. And the thing is, if you use your head so much and not actually learn the lesson wholeheartedly, it's very hard to get out of the situation. Also, I think successful and accomplished people also tend to be less willing to get help, right? Because usually, at least we appear to be so confident and we just have that hesitation in seeking help. So I had to completely let it go before I could rebuild confidence in me as a human being, not as a professional or student. Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's no textbook which can guide you to, step one, step two, step three. And also, like, I like the point that you said that we are so reliant on our brains, but actually there's no answer that comes from the head. It's all from the heart and going deep inside. So I know that you have shared your journey about divorce on public platforms in corporate setup, which honestly amazed me when you first mentioned about that to me. So I'm very curious to ask you that how did that come about that you embrace this vulnerability and you spoke about this experience to in front of so many people on the stage?
I know when you watch me right now, you might feel like I might make it look easy, but
Mm,
actually I've been openly talking about this for over 10 years, almost 10 years. And it wasn't always like this.
mm,
And I remember the first opportunity came, one of the first, first big public forum was International Women's Day at one of my old companies. And it was an event based in one of our big offices in Italy. I was the most senior Asian at the company at the time. And the team who put it together knew me pretty well personally. And they asked me if I would mind sharing it. By then, I felt pretty recovered from all the turmoil. But when I was speaking about it on stage, I was actually in tears. But it's not for the reasons that people think. It's not about my own story. It's
mm,
more about the deep connection and the tears I
mm,
saw in the audience. And
mm.
I was really, really touched. I realized how much all of us needed that conversation.
Yeah.
After the event, some of the live audiences in the town hall, they came up to me and said, "Thank you for allowing us to be human at work." And I
Mm,
got some really heartfelt, long emails, people sharing their own personal stories and how much it meant for them to see someone like me to be on stage crying. And I think there's no easy way until we normalize these conversations.
Mm.
And the way to normalize these conversations is to have a few of us brave enough to
Mm.
talk about it on stage first. And then once there are enough people talking about it on stage in public forums, then hopefully one day it will be like talking about flus. I mean, it would never, it will never be a flu, but you know what I mean? Like, it won't be so painful to talk about it.
Yeah.
And because something like the divorce can impact your life so fundamentally, right? Like from lifestyle to logistics to
Yeah.
health. If we don't talk about it publicly, comfortably, I'm not sure how we can make it easier for people.
Mm. Right.
It's worth it, so what? That I'm, a little bit of embarrassment on my shoulder, but if it could make a huge difference in people's lives, I'm willing to be, one of those.
Great. I'm not sure how far we have come as a society to still talk about it. You said it was 10 years ago, but I have had conversations with a couple of friends very recently who have faced divorce and they still don't find it comfortable to talk about it, especially in the workplace, in the corporate environment. So I don't know how much leeway we still have in that setting to talk about this. There's still gossip, or there are still those fears people will pity on me and things, those other kind of emotions.
But
Yeah.
it's the stats, right, Esther? I mean, it's more than half of the population that
Yeah.
have filed divorce, right? And then
Yeah. Yeah.
people who are going through difficulties in their marriages, in their relationships, that's most of us, isn't it? If you add all of them up. And what kind of experiences that we share so commonly as a society that
Yeah.
we do not talk about publicly? I
True.
can't think of any other experience.
Yeah, no, that's right. And even if we keep the emotions aside, if we purely talk in terms of numbers, I came upon this figure, that a study by Harvard Business Review, that shows that divorces cost American business a staggering $150 billion annually. And this is just American businesses. So the effect is huge. Anyway, so moving forward, I was reading that when this kind of thing happens, a lot of people also they just disappear from your life, or they go mute. So is it like you discover who are your true friends? What in your experience happens when society also distances themselves a bit? Did that happen to you?
Yeah, a little bit. Luckily, I have always had a strong network of friends, especially strong women, right, who have gone through something similar, or they can relate, because I think, um, unfortunately, professional women, usually as they climb up the corporate ladder, they face a lot of hurdles, they face a lot of taboos, right? So, yeah, so this is not like a completely uncharted territory for some of my female friends, even if they haven't gone through a divorce themselves. Now, I also have to give credit to my, male supporters.
Mm.
Some of my male colleagues were just wonderful. They helped me a lot, helped me navigate the
Mm.
systems, which is hugely important. I think, okay, like maybe not everyone is comfortable in talking about this. Maybe you're not close enough to talk about this. But
Mm.
I think as a colleague, the minimum that you can do is, all of us are exposed to different areas of the systems, right? The corporate systems, and do what you can to help out your colleague, to the part
Mm.
of the system that you are familiar with. And, just actions, right, can also be very comforting. You don't always have to use words if you don't know how to
Right.
say them.
Right. Just a small gesture, take someone
Yeah,
out for a lunch
yeah,
or something, just like a
yeah.
warm
Just
cup
be
of
there
tea.
and listen. You don't have to respond. Actually,
Mm.
um,
Mm.
I often find that people who are going through these sort of things, they just need you to listen. They don't
Mm.
need solutions. They don't need advice.
Mm.
Let's leave those to the professionals, right?
Mm. Mm.
Um, we as friends and colleagues hold space for them. Just be there.
Mm.
If they want company for lunch, if they need help to get out of bed, be there for them. Just listen carefully and be compassionate. That would
Mm.
be my advice. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this hold space for them. I like this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the least you can do, to just hold space for them, to allow them to talk. Vanessa, we just discussed that some of the statistics, relationships or marriages in general rank as the third highest cause of stress, trailing only behind work
Mm.
and finances. So, can you tell, in your experience, three ways an individual can begin the journey of self care amidst this whole turmoil that they are going through?
I think there are three things that have helped me. I would say number one, the most important always is your daily habits. You can't win this without your body, your mind,
Yeah.
your emotions to be healthy.
Right.
It's not just one thing. They coexist and they support each other. This system.
Mm.
It's very basic. I think we all know it. Eat well, sleep well, do meditations. Make sure you have some movements every day. If you have any challenges in maintaining your daily habits, that's I think when your friends can really come in. If your question is, how do you develop, what kind of habits do you need
Mm.
to recover beyond these basics, then I think you can seek some professional helps, right? Like meditation teachers, like therapists, like psychiatrists, or even like GP. They have great advice. Maybe in this process, you have drained your body so much that certain
Mm.
nutrition is missing, right? Like, so do the basics, and these professionals know, right, how to discover the gaps and help you to get back to shape. I think that's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is a little bit deeper. I think in the process, hopefully, you'll discover that life events that are painful are not there to punish you. They're
Mm.
also there to open up some doors, some possibilities for you to reset and find a new horizon. And how
Mm.
exciting is it if we see this possibility? Unfortunately, human beings are designed in such a way that unless someone put a huge amount of pain on you, to the
Mm.
point where you just can't tolerate it anymore. Then you're
Yeah.
like, fine, enough. I don't want to live this life anymore. Fine, I will find another life. I'll think about what I actually want to do. Use it. Might just as well, right? The pain is there, so might just as well use it. And think about your purpose. If you can manage to find a new purpose for your life throughout this process, then it's pain justified, right? I mean, you might
Yeah.
just as well. And I
Yeah.
think we all have unique gifts. When you are so vulnerable, you
Mm.
also strip away a lot of layers and you see
Mm.
yourself more clearly. You see the world also from a fresh perspective.
Mm.
And that is the perfect time to think about what do you actually want to do here? What is your purpose beyond, making a living with your job? Are there other things that you're passionate about? Are there things that you have always wanted to do since your childhood? Even like just a small hobby, right? On the
Mm.
side. What is it? Find those. Those can be catalyst
Mm.
to recovery because you're looking forward to a new life.
Yeah.
And number three is something that I think you should always do, even without these events, and you should definitely do it throughout your life, way before
Right.
these events, is building your tribe, right? Like these are people you know. If you are about to fall, there will be like these like five, six people will hold
Mm.
that safety net for you, and you just
Yeah.
fall,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah. Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
And these kind of friendships and trusts cannot be built overnight, obviously. You should really look for these individuals who will be there for you when you fall, so that we all fall at some point.
Right.
Not,
Yeah, and it's a very good point you raised, because I was reading that often what happens, especially for women, because post marriage you have a lot of common friends, like, the couple
mm,
friends. And once the couple disintegrates,
yeah,
normally friends will take one or the other side. And in many cases, because you have invested all your time and energy in building those couple friendships, you somehow forget your own friends. And
yes,
I feel that also happens with a lot of women, that they face typically post divorce because they didn't spend time in cultivating their own personal tribe, but like rather always leaning on those common mutual friends as a couple that you have.
Yeah,
Did
no,
you?
I completely agree. I think it's very easy to lose your identity in a marriage. It becomes codependency. It becomes
Mm,
like a merged vision and identity. I think for a healthy relationship to last, you should hold your ground in terms of elements that feel alive. Not everything should be merged, is kind of my opinion. Yeah.
true. I like it. Yeah, not everything should be merged. There are some things which should be really personal to you, and how does it mean to you personally? So, speaking of support networks, are there any particular support networks or resources which played a crucial role in your healing process? Something that you leaned on a lot?
Well, I'm still seeing therapists quite regularly. That's it all. I just need a lot of help. That's also possible.
I'm normalizing therapy here, that you are openly talking about it, that despite this event happened 10 years ago, you still go to your therapist and talk about many other things in your
Yeah,
life.
and you know the amazing thing about therapists is that you might think you're perfectly okay, but
Mm,
then when you show up in the office, they're trained to identify things that you need to work on. And we all have things that we need to work on. Now, of course, if you're not going through a live event, you might not need to see them every week, right? I don't
mm,
see them that regularly, but I do see them.
right.
Um, and every time I get a lot out of it. They give me some fresh ideas,
Mm,
some new exercises to do, and some things that I may not have picked up myself, right?
right.
So the idea is that if you do enough preventative work, you will not get that low when something happens. That's the hope, at least. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so that's number one, invest in professional help. Of course, meditation has proven to be helpful, also yoga, and even movements, right? Hire a coach to hold you accountable, to make sure you show up in the morning, which, you're laughing because, yeah, I'm very into coaches and teachers. And I think, another benefit of hiring teachers and coaches is that it allows you to learn a new skill very quickly, and you gain
Mm,
confidence um, very quickly because you're learning from the expert. You don't need to guess like what's the fastest way to get there. They're supposed to show you.
right.
And if you're building a new life, that confidence is very, very helpful because all of a sudden you feel like, oh, I can do this. So many new pathways are open because you have that confidence to try to open those doors. To me, I like to learn because it keeps my brain very healthy, and it keeps my confidence level high. And then one more thing would be, like we have so much content out there now. Podcasts, right? Like this one, YouTube, books. Um, there's so much great advice out there. Now, of course, not all is valid, but it doesn't hurt to listen them out. Take it or leave it. The support system is really fast right now. You just need to get there and expose yourself to it. So
Mm,
start with daily habit and some professional help.
right. So basically, don't try to solve it all by yourself.
Yeah.
There's enough help around. You just need to raise your hand and say, I need help.
Yeah, and do it a little bit each day, don't overwhelm yourself.
Right, right. Yeah. I think like divorce really pushes you outside of your comfort zone, and you really learn and discover a lot of new things about self. So I want to ask you, what did you discover in you post divorce, which you weren't even aware of before?
Yeah, I was always pretty good at school. I was good at my job. I wasn't really useful in any other area back then, if I can be honest. Um,
Mhm.
Never dealt with my finance. Because I got
Ah,
married. I met my ex-husband quite young, and I got married very
yeah,
young. And never dealt with my taxes. Never dealt with the investments, including buying properties and things like that. I had a lot of dreams, because just like what I said, right? We basically merge our hobbies. So I gave
yeah,
up a lot of things that I wanted to do, dreams that I had, right? I gave up a lot of those. And I thought that was a healthy relationship, but it's not. I ended up not living the life I wanted. And that gap, after divorce allowed me to kind of search for myself again. I bought a property all by myself for the first time after my divorce. Doing all the paperwork and
Mm.
making the decision for the first time in my life. It was great.
Yeah.
I also went back to photography. I started biking in Southeast Asia with my camera. It
Wow.
was one of the best time in my life. I also discovered that I like to sing. I went back to singing. I've always loved running. That I never gave up. But I think I only took running more seriously after my divorce. I started working with coaches,
Mm.
which is why I know a coach can really change your confidence level, just in
Mm.
general, not just like in what you
Yeah.
hire them to train you on, but in general.
Right. Yeah, I think it's like a blank canvas and you get to repaint it again in whichever way you want. So
You
you
know,
tapped into many facets of yours, which probably were like somewhere deeply embedded in your heart, and you do them.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
think you can only do that when you're forced to restructure your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
We human beings hate changes. We don't like changes. We want status quo. So, and you know, if you look at most people's lives, there actually aren't that many opportunities in your lives to completely reset.
Mm.
And in so many ways, isn't that great that you get?
Yeah. Yeah. You get to rewrite your path again. Yeah.
Yeah,
Usually there's no time even to take a pause and reflect and see what I want to do. It's like life just goes by in a
you
whiff and
wake up and
suddenly
you
you
live
are
the same
80 years
life
old.
again and again, right? You don't
Yeah.
think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. You manage to rediscover your sense of identity and purpose. And I know you are heavily into yoga and meditation. I'm very curious, and also for our listeners, if you can explain if somebody who doesn't know anything about meditation, what can they do? Some simple, easy tips and tricks from where they can start.
Oh, I have very, very good news for those. You are already doing it every day. Find a
Okay.
corner, sit there, and focus on your breathing for 5 minutes. That is a great start for
Okay.
meditation.
Okay. Just 5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes. There's there's a lot of mystery out there about meditation. Number one myth is that I get asked a lot, but there's still all these things in my head when I'm meditating.
Yeah.
But noticing them is part of meditation. So
Hmm.
congratulations, you already know how to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because meditation ultimately is training your mind. You are in control, not your mind controlling you. That's the ultimate goal of meditation.
Mm.
So because it's about control, right? You want you to have the remote control,
Mm.
not the head, right? To control your life.
Right.
So if you want to do that, then step one is noticing that they're thoughts. And then the
Mm.
second question is just stay curious. What are the thoughts? Like just like you're watching a movie, like that's a very, very gorgeous dress.
Yeah.
That around the waist, like I see some gold pattern, just almost like that. And imagine you're watching a movie, except that's your head. That's all. That's meditation.
Right. Okay, this is great. I'm gonna give it a shot because I've had many failed attempts. Maybe I do it for 1 or 2 days and then I forget about it and life moves on. But I think it needs like a very consistent, deliberate attempt every single day. Like,
Very simple. Let's repeat, make sure people understand. 3 steps. One is find a quiet corner. Second
mm-hmm.
is focus on your breath. Just
Mm.
observe breathing in, breathing out. Third, you have thoughts. Thoughts are not going to be,
Mm.
your head is not empty. There will be thoughts. So when the thoughts come, watch it like a movie. Ask yourself, what is that pretty dress? Like, what is, what's in that car? Just like that curiosity. And then once it passes, you let it go. Then you go back to your breath. That is meditation.
Mm. Wow, this is the most simplistic definition of meditation I've heard. I feel like doing meditation right now, but I have to finish this. that we are on this lovely conversation. So we are almost towards the end, Vanessa. As I was discussing, I was also reading a lot of information about around divorces and how it impacts the workplaces in general. And it is quite evident that many employees expressed a desire of more psychological and mental health support from companies during this period. So in your opinion, what role should employers or corporates in general play in addressing the mental health needs for employees during this transition phase of divorce?
Well, I think number one is make sure the benefits cover the help that the employees need during this kind of phases, which I think most companies are doing quite well on. Like, things like therapy, right, should be covered by insurance. Very simple things. Second is, currently a lot of life events is not covered by the pay time off
Mm,
policy.
mm,
Can we explore that a little bit?
mm.
And since currently most of the companies policies do not cover that, then it's really up to the management to be flexible about it. I think companies will find that the investment is well justified, given
Yeah.
that flexibility. I think these are the two main ones that people need from the company.
And you already discussed that as co-workers,
Mm.
what we can offer is just hold that space. Change begins at an individual level. Once we start showing that change, maybe we'll see that broader change in the society at large.
Yeah, I think allowing them to speak when they want to talk to you,
Mm.
listen, hold space. Obviously, there will be projects that may need some help, may need some
Right.
covering. Be there,
Mm.
to support. That I think it's all common sense if you would
Yeah.
just we're all capable of being very compassionate, and
Right.
I think if we put that hat on, we can all figure it out as a team.
True. True.
Yeah.
True. All right. So the last question, Vanessa, for you is if you were to give advice to someone who is feeling overwhelmed or lost or navigating this phase right now, what will be your advice to them?
Don't feel like you have to go through this alone. Get professional help, get your tribe together. And I know it's hard. I know there's a lot of judgment out there when you talk about these topics, but hopefully you would have at least one mentor you can trust in the
Mm.
company who can
Yeah.
help you navigate. That part in particular is very tough to do on your own.
Right. Okay. In the end, Vanessa, if anybody wants to reach out to you, what's the best way they can get in touch with you? If you can tell our audience.
So my website is Finding Ananda. I'm sure Esther will put it in the
Yep,
notes.
I will.
I have a blog. I write about everything about life, about meditations, things that I'm passionate about. I can also be found on Insight Timer. I'm a teacher on Insight Timer app. Meditation.
Oh, that's great. All right. Just for our audience, I have done and attended in-person meditation sessions with Vanessa, and just because she's here, I'm not saying that, but it was one of the most wonderful, wonderful experiences I've had. Like, I don't know how to describe that, what mental state I managed to attain. So thank you, Vanessa, for that meditation session. It really, really helped me. And if you're in Singapore and Hong Kong, you can always get to know when she's doing these sessions and attend one of those. This was great, Vanessa. From what I have understood after this conversation is that there's some marvelous things that are waiting post divorce. Just take those baby steps, one feet after the other, and life will happen.
You just take one step at a time.
Yeah. So just get started, pick up the paintbrush and start painting your beautiful
Canvas.
canvas once again.
Yes. Thank you, Esther.
Thanks, Vanessa.